All right, guys. So Ed Donatel is going to be named the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to be on the staff with Kevin O'Connell. This is one of the first hires that has been made by Kwesi Mensah in Minnesota. So, they add a younger coach in Kevin O'Connell who's in his late 30s, early 40s. I love Kevin O'Connell. Again, his presence is tremendous. If you ever meet Kevin O'Connell, couldn't be a nicer guy. Going to be a great leader and communicator. Has worked with Sean McVay on multiple stops. Was with the Redskins, the Washington's team a lot. And then he's been tremendous ever since he's gotten out to Los Angeles. So Donatel is going to be the defensive coordinator, and I'm trying to think where they matched up. Let's see. He was with the Bears for 3 years, from 2015 to 2018. So he comes with experience as a defensive back, too, for Vic Fangio. So he's a guy that is from the Fangio tree. And then for the Denver Broncos, boy, oh boy. The last couple of years, he was the defensive coordinator under Vic Fangio. So he did a pretty solid job with the defense. A lot of zone coverage. It's a real 3-4 base scheme. But he certainly is incredibly qualified. I mean, the guy is 65, and he's been in the NFL from 1990. He's been in the National Football League from 1990 to 2022. So he's been about 35 years of coaching, and he really specializes in defensive backs. He's a guy who went to Glenville State and in West Virginia. So this guy is very, very qualified. I like this for a younger coach. They're obviously taking on the mold of what happened with Sean McVay and Wade Phillips, where Wade Phillips was good for a couple of years, but then they hired Brendan Staley and Raheem Morris and some absolute studs that came in and helped. So under Ed Donatel, you want to try to recruit some really brilliant cornerback coaches, D-line coaches. You want to recruit your next defensive coordinator because he is 65. So you want to see him do it for a couple of years. He can be a good liaison for Kevin O'Connell, for Kwesi Mensah, because Kwesi is still getting used to the National Football League. Kevin O'Connell's going to be a really young head coach. So I totally see the methodology, and this defense is really young, and it's a defense that is not very good. So I totally see where the Vikings are. They want Ed to make this a professional defense. They want Ed to be a bridge, getting them from their first place, and they want Ed to be a bridge between their defense getting out of the dumpster fire and then turning it into a decent defense, and then eventually they're going to hire Brendan Staley or promote within several years. So this is a good spot for Ed Donatel. Again, you're picking the Vic Fangio brain. You're going to learn a lot of defense. Kevin O'Connell's going to have a really good sounding board. At first, it's like a 65-year-old who's from Vic Fangio. It's not too exciting because the guy has never been a head coach before as a defensive coordinator. But thinking about where the Minnesota Vikings are at, it's a good conservative play, meaning that with Kevin O'Connell, you're not taking a risk on a super young defensive coordinator and it all going to hell. You're going a pretty conservative route here with a very young defense. You're going to try to teach them some things. You're going to try to see who really fits good culture of Vikings defense, who really fits into your long-term plans. He's going to help out with scouting. He's going to be a good resource for Minnesota. I do like the move. Now, the key under Donatel, again, is to get studs. You want guys now under Donatel, you can take your chance rolling the dice on finding your next gem. You want to find the next Brendan Staley from the Vic Fangio tree. You want to find a Raheem Morris. You want to find your Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin was a Minnesota defensive coordinator. So you want to find your next stud that's going to be a head coach somewhere that is going to be in this Minnesota Vikings pipeline. So this is a good move for the Minnesota Vikings. It's a decent move. I don't think that Minnesota is going to be a world beater anytime soon, but again, you're trying to make this a really respectable club. You're trying to build long-term continuity. Dean Pease is also a defensive coordinator who's had a lot of experience. He's helping out Arthur Smith. Wink Martindale's going to come and help out Brian Dable. So I like this move by Minnesota, actually. On the surface, I didn't think it was exciting, but now I totally get it. It's good conservative ploy. You're going young at the general manager and head coach, and you want to find some semblance of stability and some sense of respectability on the defensive side of the football.